Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Quantum Connection podcast and Enlightened Mood YouTube channel. Vanessa Baldwin, my co-host, and I are really excited to bring you this essential information. Basically, I consider it life-saving information about sleep. And we're going to be bringing you the foundation of the quantum aspects of sleep. That means the circadian rhythm and how sleep is basically the most important aspect of your health journey to dial in first. And what you do during the day, the night, and all of these things really impact how well you sleep. And there's some basically critical processes that are happening during the night that need to happen at night that your whole day sets the stage for. And that is the self-cleaning. But we're going to go over all of this. We're going to make it succinct. We're going to give you all the essentials that you need to know in order to ensure that you are maximizing your quality of sleep over time and you can sleep like a baby. Because I don't know about you, Vanessa, but I had a period of time when my chronic fatigue was at the worst around 2010, 2015. Unbeknownst to me, like I was in perimenopause, so that exacerbated my sleep, but also I had a raging histamine issue. But my cortisol was probably horrible at night. And I just was, suffering and awake. And I was indoors most of the day working with clients. And I didn't realize the circadian reality of sleep. And it just kind of like, once you start losing sleep, it compounds. Like you just get worse and worse, it seemed like, when you don't know how to rectify it and turn that around. So
Oh yeah, I can say so much about all of that, but yeah, I completely agree. So yeah, well, if you don't have optimal sleep, you're not going to have optimal health. Like that's number one, right? So you have to have those things. And when I was at my sickest, I had the worst chronic insomnia. And I know I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but I dreaded the nights every single night because I wouldn't be able to fall asleep. My mind would be racing, probably also chronic histamine issues at that time. My mind would just be going and going and going, and I couldn't sleep. And the pain would set in, and the pain would be so severe, it would keep me up. And every night I just dreaded it, and I never slept well. And then, of course, if you don't sleep well, you're not repairing, you're not rejuvenating, you don't feel rested, you have no energy the next day, you just feel like crap. And then at that time, I was taking a lot of pharmaceuticals, which was just compounding the issue and making it worse. And then when I started to get into a more natural route, I would automatically reach for L-theanine or melatonin, which were absolutely band-aid solutions, but they would put me to sleep some nights because they would, the L-theanine turns off the histamine or calms the nervous system, and I would just kind of pass out. And I'm not recommending that as a solution at all. I'm just saying that was the band-aid solution that I gave myself in order to help myself sleep. And even with those, I would still wake up from pain and still be up at night. And it was really awful. And I never would have thought that changing my light environment could change and make such a huge impact on my sleep quality and pain levels at night. I never would have put those two things together without the help of some people.
It's almost too obvious. It's so obvious.
Not even obvious. It just wasn't even in my realm. Like I thought there was something I needed to take, something I needed to do. I mean, of course I looked to diet, which of course diet is important, but I'm like, what am I eating that's causing the pain surge or causing the racing thoughts? That was my thought. That was where I went. Diet first. I never would no, and none of the functional doctors that I went to ever went to light and said, oh, you really should check your light environment or do this. I mean, eventually I found that and I found my path to that, and light is what helped improve my sleep. So we really need to know that light is really it is the number one zeitgeber. So it is the number one way that we control our circadian rhythms. And morning light is essential for having quality sleep.
Have a double exclamation point there. Yes.
I mean, like triple. Like you and the reason why is because morning light is going to help balance your cortisol melatonin patterns, which is how you have optimal sleep quality.
It's also important though, Vanessa, because that's when you're going to get the light code in your eyes. So it's a combination of the hormones and neurotransmitters that that light coming in your eyes. The backs of your eyes have those catcher's mitts, the cluster of cells called melanopsin receptors, right? It's literally receiving the light code. And this is when we talk about UVA light, which is 10 to 30 degrees above the horizon after sunrise. That light code comes in your eyes. It goes to the melanopsin receptors. It sends that to the suprachiasmatic nucleus, the other cluster of cells, the master clock in your hypothalamus. Then there's along that pathway somewhere, the serotonin is created, and serotonin is what is then converted into melatonin in the evening.
Right. So let's just take a step back, because you said so many great things, and yes, amazing, right? So number one is you got to get outside for morning sunrise light as best as you can, like get out. Hopefully you can get out around sunrise time, which is when the sunlight's going to be below 10 degrees. Right. So that's the first light that comes out. The light is going to come out. It's going to have red. It's going to have orange. It's going to have yellow. Then there's going to be this, it's going to be a low level of blue, which what happens is when you get outside and you see that mix and balance of red and blue and that small low level of blue, that blue light actually tells your body to put the melatonin away and then activate the cortisol, not in a huge response, in a slow trickle effect, which is really, really important. So the morning time also, not only the light is going to help that, and what you said too about the light that goes into your eyes, right? It's getting to the suprachiasmatic nucleus in the hypothalamus. That's your master time clock, just like you just said. But we need to make sure we're not blocking that. So you got to be outside without sunglasses, without anything, getting those photoreceptors, the light into the eyes through the photoreceptors there and on the skin. The eye is the most important piece, though, of that.
It's helpful, though, if your skin gets the signal too. It just makes it even stronger. Now, a lot of people living in colder climates may not be so excited about that. To be honest, I don't wear like skimpy clothes in the morning either, but I will try to at least wear shorts a lot of the times when I'm watching sunrise, so the sun is hitting my legs at least, right? Upper body is not so comfortable. But the sunrise, if you can get out, you don't have to actually watch the ball coming over the horizon. I do, because it's part of my health practice, but also my spiritual practice. So I get all of it in one go. But it sets your circadian rhythm every day. Seeing that bright light and the exact hues, the light frequencies, it tells your brain what time of day it is and where you are in time and space, like where are you at on the globe. And your body needs to know that, because it helps basically program your entire system and sync up all of your clocks so that it knows, okay, Heather's going to be going to bed approximately 16 hours from now, and that's when we're going to start to, like, your body has a time clock, right? This is what time it is. Now I know when I'm going to start increasing melatonin production if the signals are appropriate in the evening. So it's a two-sided thing: daytime, evening time practices.
Yeah, your body gets used to these rhythms too, and it really just starts to align to the natural rhythms of the sun. So yeah, 100%. The skin, if you can get it exposed, is even better. I know it's hard, and it's cold here. It's getting into the 30s, and some days I can. On the days where it's a little bit less cold, 40s, 50s, yeah, I'm exposing more skin, so you got to do your best with that. But the sunrise light is imperative. And I would say that, as much as of it you can get, and, I know people work and whatnot, just take a few minutes if you can, even if that's all you can do. It's worth it. Of course, I would love you to spend more time out there at sunrise, but if all you can do is a few minutes, it's worth it to do the few minutes. And I know that sounds like, it's not going to do anything, but I promise you it will make an impact. So like even that few minutes, if that's all you can do. And, a
few minutes is really important, because that's entrainment. Like you're literally synchronizing and syncing up to the circadian rhythms and the light codes. 10 minutes a day is better than 1 hour on the weekend. That will do nothing.
Right. It's an everyday practice. That's exactly. It's better to do it every day for 10 minutes than to do it one day a week for an hour. So even if that's all you can do that. I mean, of course, my routine, sometimes I have to drive my son to the bus stop right at sunrise time. I just make sure the windows are open. It's like, that's only a few minute drive, but I usually take a sunrise walk because it's kind of cold to just sit right now with the sun. So like I've got to kind of move to keep my body heat going a little bit. So I usually take a slow restorative walk, which we'll talk about that in a little bit, but I take like a slow restorative walk with the dog, watch the sunrise, come back in, and then I have my circadian friendly breakfast, which you can also talk about meal timing a little bit as well. But I want to continue on the path of light because I want people to understand what you said about UVA light, because that might have been a lot for people. And I want to break that down. So the next light spectrum that's going to come out is going to be UVA. it's really low. I'm getting like only an index of 1 really in my light. Yeah, that's how low it gets for us right now. So we're not really getting a lot of strong UVA light, but it does come out around 8:30, 9 o'clock where I'm living right now. And you have to use different apps to track that. You can use Dminder, there's Sunbeam, there's UV Index, which actually I really like. There's a Circadian app. So you can track when UV light is coming out, but you want to get some time in UVA light. And I love UVA light because I know it helps my thyroid health tremendously, which is another thing that it does. But it's going to help your sleep because this is the time when you actually replenish your melatonin storage. So you replenish it through getting UVA light in your eyes and your skin, because the tryptophan that you've eaten only from animal products, by the way, this is an essential amino acid that we need, that we can only get from animal products. We don't make it. Okay, you have to eat it to have tryptophan. Gets converted into serotonin when it's stimulated by light. Okay, that is the tryptophan.
Light is the catalyst. Light is the
Yes,
catalyst
that's key.
that aromatic amino acid. It's a light ring. It's a ring, and that light
Yeah.
is what ignites that process to trigger that conversion.
Right. It has a benzene ring, which is like a light trap. So it helps it trap that UV light, and then it helps that conversion happen. And then the magic of that serotonin, like you said before, I just want to reiterate that, is that serotonin will become melatonin later on in the night. This is your pineal gland melatonin. There's another kind of melatonin, subcellular melatonin, but the pineal gland melatonin will be converted, but only in the absence of light at night. Because if you're putting on those bright lights at night again, this is, where we make the mistake. So some people might go out and do the sunrise light, but then at night, what happens is if they turn on all their LEDs and their fluorescents at night, you've just totally shunted that melatonin process, because you're messing with that cortisol melatonin pattern again, because the cortisol is going to be stimulated from that strong light, which has a strong blue tone, that blue light frequency. And then that melatonin will be shunted, and you won't then release it till much later. It might get released late, much later than it should be released, because you're not giving that darkness to your body.
Your body doesn't know what it needs to do when without getting regular light cues. So that's why you just pop your head out the door or window, whatever you're doing. If you're at work, you've got to at least go outside for a minute to help give that signal to your brain. Because the thing is Vanessa, it's so hard for me, having worked all these years in mental health and counseling, and now transitioning into more of the physical health. But I look at all of it. Like, we think about sleep as a physical health issue, but it's like it manifests every way: mental, emotional, physical. So people who have depression, it's not like you have, it's not always unresolved grief or trauma. It's that you're not getting enough morning light. That is the issue, because your cortisol and your dopamine, all of that isn't getting elicited by the light code, right? All of the hormones, the serotonin and whatnot, are stimulated by the light code and then balanced and evened out. Even the sex hormones, so pregnenolone, your master steroid hormone, which then goes into the other sex hormones, estrogen, testosterone. All of these processes are mediated by the incoming light code. So that's the critically important information for people to take away from this. If you're not getting the natural light code, your body doesn't know what to do when, and it's then relying on artificial light. And those light temperatures, like you said, Vanessa, LED and whatnot, are, I don't know what people are using, mostly is LED nowadays, are totally junk light. And they're dominant in the blue spectrum. So then you're either going to get so much blue that your body is like, oh my God, we have to make a lot more cortisol. That can lead to bad things, right? You can be anxious then. So like, for example, in California where I'm at, it's so tragic because we're getting a lot of nice sunny weather right now. But everyone's running around in the morning with sunglasses on, and I just feel like, oh my God. Of course, I don't do anything, but I wish I could just run up to this person and say, do you know how horrible that is for your health? And you may be healthy, but you could be so much healthier. Or if you have depression, you're really shooting yourself in the foot.
You're blocking that light code from entering your eye, and you're confusing your body by telling it's dark outside to make melatonin instead of making cortisol. when it should be making cortisol when the blue light is out. Like cortisol is not bad. Blue light is not bad. From the sunlight, we should be making these things. Like we should be getting the blue light signal in our eyes during the daytime, and then we should make cortisol. That's what we should be doing. So yeah, I want to tell people
cortisol, you're going to feel depressed and tired.
Oh yeah. I want to tell people that all the time. Sunglasses, it drives me nuts, especially like this time of the year when it's so cloudy and it's not like you really just don't need like, I mean, even if you are photosensitive, like this is the time where you can maybe strengthen that a little bit, and I always tell people if you are photosensitive, because I was extremely photosensitive to the sun and I always wore sunglasses. I was immediately put them on. Now I immediately do the opposite. I immediately can't wait to be in the sun and put on my blue blockers all the time when I'm in artificial light. Like it's like so the opposite, which is so cool. But because I'm now entrained to the natural light, not the artificial light. But my point is that getting out in those morning light times, in the early sunrise times, can help your body really get used to the light code and the frequencies, and because it's gentler, it's not as bright at that time, right? So like sunrise is a great time to be without your sunglasses. It's really not that.
It helps the red and infrared helps strengthen the rods and cones in your eyes because they become weakened and debilitated because they're not used to the natural light. It's not that there's anything wrong with the light. I think that we've maligned the sun, certain health organizations or unfortunately medical field, they have maligned the sun so much that people are so scared of it. And it's actually to our detriment to not understand the truth or to not know the truth, is that the morning light is basically giving your body, it's like a vitamin. I call it vitamin sun. It's just basically uploading all of the nutrients that you need and starting all these processes, right? And helping your body to know what it needs when. And when you put sunglasses on, you're basically compromising your health. You're compromising your body's ability to function. And so the sunlight is not bad. It's actually vital to our health, and it's knowing how to use it properly. So it's like sunlight deficiency is what creates this weak eye syndrome, right? Mm-hmm. You can't tolerate the bright light. It's because your eyes, think about it. It's like your eyes are literally out of shape, right? Like your muscles get out of shape if you don't use them. Your eyeballs are out of shape, and that's a bad sign. That is going to lead to further health issues down the line because you can't then even utilize the sun and get those light codes in. So like Vanessa is saying, start off with early morning light exposure to then actually not even that slowly, people can strengthen their eyes within a couple of weeks of consistent light exposure. And I'm of the opinion that if your health is so compromised, you need to be outside all morning as long as possible every day to help get your body back on track, because the body wants to self-correct. We are self-healing organisms. We've been trained to think about, except for light, like that's different, but like go get a supplement, go change my diet. Like I got to go figure this out. No, your body knows what to do. Give it the right natural inputs from the environment and let it start to heal itself.
Yeah. Yes. I love that. 100%. It's like amazing what your body can do when you give it the right signals. Right. So yeah, go out and get that morning sunlight, get out that you get the UVA light. And I agree, the more health challenges you have, the more you want to spend in morning light, morning sunrise, morning UVA light. Okay. Right now in the wintertime, there's not UVB where I live, but UVB light has amazing benefits, and it's a great light spectrum to be in as well. We've talked about that in our sunlight podcast before, all the benefits of UVB light. So take a listen to that. And then at night, when the sun sets, you need to be checking your light environment. Okay. And I know this is harder in the winter. I get it. My blue blockers are going on at 4:00 in my house, in my environment, and honestly, my environment is pretty well kept too. Like we have, low light incandescent bulbs and lamps, and we have red and orange bulbs. You have to mitigate your environment at night and mimic nature as much as you can. So I suggest orange blue blockers. I suggest red tone blue blockers. I suggest, mitigating your light environment, not only from light bulbs, but from screens as well, which are just a big hit of blue and then a big hit to your cortisol levels to rise again and your melatonin to be suppressed. So I know we want to sit and watch TV and do all those kinds of watch Christmas movies right now and hang out. And I'm not saying you can't, but put on your blue blockers. We have a screen protector on our TV.
I can see it.
Yeah, you can see that's kind of wavy. That's my only complaint about it. So it's hard to keep flush, so you can see kind of the glare on it.
The Waken one?
Yeah, I have the Shop Waken.
I thought they were like smooth and flat. No.
Mm-hmm. My husband put one in our RV that he built from. He just took a plexiglass, like an orange plexiglass, and he attached that to the TV with Velcro, so it can come on and off, and it works great.
That's cool.
And that's on a moving vehicle. So, I mean, there are things you can do to protect yourself. So now whenever the TV's on in my home, it's not going to be this strong hit of blue, and then I still wear my blue blockers and I still cover my thyroid because I'm want to be safe. I want to cover my skin.
Right, let's qualify that, because people remember that your skin is reading the light code too, and this area is very sensitive. Your thyroid right there. So if you don't cover up your thyroid, Vanessa, what would happen?
Well, those light frequencies can penetrate right deep into that organ. It's right on the surface right here, and it can cause detrimental effects there, and it can really hurt that organ and have it not working as properly as you want it to. So yeah, I cover it up. I also, if I have to look at my screen is always on Iris. I love Iris in sleep mode. I don't know about you, but my Iris is always in sleep mode. I can't stand it really.
So sleep is the setting for Iris, which is the orangest, and it takes
red.
Thank you, red, and it takes out as much blue light as possible. You can still actually read it, but
it's zero blue and zero flicker when you have it on sleep mode. So that's a good thing for people to know. So that's why I keep it on sleep mode. Health mode, the Kelvin is still like, I don't know, over 3,000. So it's pretty high.
Bright. But Iris is an app that you can buy for your
it's a software.
It's a software app, and it's really inexpensive. It's like, when I bought it years ago, it was $15, but you can put it on your tablets and your laptops. They don't have it for TV though. I wish.
You can rig it to your TV if you have some sort of like wired connect. You can do with a wired connection. People do that. Okay. But yeah, it's only $15.99. It's only $15 now, and it works on computers, laptops, desktops, not Chromebooks, which I found out the hard way. It doesn't work on iPads or iPhones, but you can learn to turn your screens red.
Right. You use the disability settings. If you Google that and find a YouTube video, you can change where you triple click and it'll change it to all reddish.
Yep. So my phone and my screens are always red whenever I look at them. And I still wear blue blockers just to minimize the flicker rate on the iPhone or anything like that as well. So yeah, that's what I recommend.
Flicker is something that will stimulate your
nervous system.
Your nervous system, and it basically, your eyes detect that. You can't notice it always necessarily unless it's pretty obvious, but your eyes detect movement and that change of light, and that is an irritant, and it will increase your cortisol because it's something that stresses out your nervous system. But the whole goal of nighttime, because this is a big social thing too, I want to bring that up, Vanessa. Like, there's some social, like, this is a lifestyle that you want to try to embrace as much as possible. Now, your family members may not want to embrace it. So, but the whole goal of mitigating your light environment at night is to make sure that you are maximizing your melatonin production so that you will sleep like a baby. And if you're sleeping like a baby, that means you're reaching the deeper stages of sleep. And in those deep stages of sleep is when your self-cleaning systems start to really come online. And that's called autophagy and apoptosis. Autophagy is cellular repair and restoration, and apoptosis is programmed cell death and basically your mitochondria are running the show on all this, right? So they're saying, okay, these parts are toast, so this cell needs to be taken out, because otherwise what happens if we don't clean and restore well is that these damaged cell parts start to grow, and then you get more of a cancerous situation, tumors and whatnot going on. So the whole cancer and hormonal cancers and light at night, artificial light, is huge. So you want to think about changing your light environment at night to have only red tones, orange and or red. Red is better, but orange is great. And
Mhm.
to minimize your exposure to flat screens of any sorts, or cover them up, like Vanessa's saying, or use an app, or change the accessibility settings so that you're minimizing the amount of artificial blue light and just light in general. Like some people say, put the light below your eyeball level, because like a task light that's lower, and that's a desk lamp or whatever, because overhead light signals coming into your eyes will mimic daylight, and you don't want that. So let's talk about the social piece for a second, because I am all about it. Like I would have candles, and I would have only red light bulbs, and when I'm in a place where I'm just by myself, like in my other home, like it's all set up, right? Because I'm in charge. When you're cohabitating with someone, your partner may not be so excited about that. Like mine is like, I don't really want, and I respect his situation, so his preferences, and we live in a smaller cottage, so I literally wear a hat every night. It's like a Mexican brimmed hat, because we have these awful LEDs in the kitchen, and I don't want them coming in my eyeballs at night. So I wear a hat, and then I have my red blue blockers an hour or so before bed. Before that, it's the orange ones, so that I can do what I still need to do, and then I just basically go read in another room, so that I'm not getting the bright lights on the rest of my body. Yes,
Yeah.
because I'm not always all covered up. So I just go read, and it's a lifestyle. Like I love reading at night. I love reading. Like if you don't like reading, and you don't want to, like, you want to be active, and because here's the other thing, Vanessa, is I want to be calmer before bed. I used to try to do work at night and mental work and get all this stuff done. Then guess what? The artificial light combined with the movement and busyness really keeps your cortisol high. And then I would try to fall asleep, and I could not shut my brain up. It's like da 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 da, monkey mind. And then I'm worried about this, I'm thinking about that. And you can feel that. It's like you had coffee before bed, even though I never did, because
Right.
I don't do stimulants at night. You want to cut down on the stimulants. So there's the social component of how do you live the way you want to live without creating conflict in your relationships. And there's modifications and agreements, and you control what you can. And if your partner's on board, then God bless, like you're both going to be amazing and have great sleep and whatnot, right? But if they're not, then you're going to have to find a way to make the modifications that still protect you, but don't create relationship conflict.
Yeah, I want to piggyback on a little bit of that. So the other day I was I'm doing some, content for my website and whatnot, and I was up later on my screen with my computer on Iris, but my mind was really going, because I was, my cortisol's jacking up just because I'm doing something that requires a lot of mental energy and thought process. So that night I was on my computer till 9. That is so not typical for me. I'm usually off my devices by like 7, and I would recommend being off your devices a few hours before bed, for many reasons, because even if it's social media, you can get these dopamine responses, you can get these other stimulating responses just from likes, or from interactions that are negative with people on social media or whatnot. So anyway, at night I had a little bit of a hard time falling asleep, which never happens. I mean, I usually fall asleep like that, and I knew that was why. And I'm like, okay, don't do that again, Vanessa, because I'm the same. I'm in my room some 7:30, 8 o'clock a lot of nights, and I have a red light bulb in there, and I read, and I love reading at night too. And I do read a lot of nonfiction. I think fiction would be great to read at night too, before bed, because it's like a little bit less intense.
But why? We have so much to learn. I can't even really.
I can't stop. That's the thing. I have so much to learn, right? I'm the same way. I'm like, I'm in a learning phase, and I just can't. I'm hungry for more knowledge, so that's why I do that. But my point is, a fiction could be good too, because
Soothing.
might be more soothing. It depending on what it is. You don't want to be, like a horror book, or something like that might not be so soothing. But yeah, I mean, also like watching not that I do this, but say people who watch the news before bed, which can be so toxic, or watching something, it could be something on TV that is more stimulating, like that to the nervous system. This can also play an impact on sleep as well before bed, because it gets you all hyped up. So there are other things besides light that can make that that nervous system response happen in your body. So I just say it's better if you want to optimize your sleep to be off of your devices at least an hour before bed. Like find something that you can do that's different. And I know that's hard in a darker kind of environment. Like what else is there to do? Well, that's just it. Go to bed and go to bed early.
That's really tough for people because I used to be I wasn't a true night owl because I have
I was.
I've had clients who go to bed like at 4 a.m. and I'm like, oh my God. But that's their deal. But I highly recommend you move that incrementally earlier and earlier because you're not capitalizing on the deep cleaning that happens in the first part of the night. If you're missing that window, you're really compromising your health. So you got to scooch that earlier and earlier. The whole evening time for me is all about winding down, increasing melatonin, keeping it dark, not doing a lot of stuff, enjoying and having the pleasure of, especially in winter, it's just so cozy and yummy. And it feels good to just relax more because really wintertime overall, let's talk about that circadian. Wintertime is a time of even deeper repair. Why? Because you're supposed to be getting more time to sleep. And it's cold and cooler for most of, the above, I guess, I don't know, my latitude 37th, it's cooler, right? And that's time to kind of hibernate a little bit more. And that's when your body's going to do deeper repair. And if you're partying at the holiday parties, if you're eating late, if you're doing things that compromise your body's ability to shut things down so that it can go into rest and repair mode, you're really going to probably, suffer some kind of consequences. I mean, the lower your level of health, the more inflammation you're going to create. The higher your level of health, you might get away with some of those later nights when you're eating. So let's talk a little bit about those other things that we tend to can mess up our sleep, Vanessa. Like for me, I want to once in a while indulge and have maybe, in the holidays, I'll have a piece of whatever sweeter kind of dessert without fail. It never used to be a big problem, but without fail, it will make it harder for me to fall asleep. And I will wake up in the middle of the night for 1 to 2 hours. And that's like torture. Now, because I have such a strong circadian rhythm, I don't feel like shit. Like I used to just feel like crap. My chronic fatigue would be worse. Like I literally had brain fog all day. Like now I can still function, but why would I want to torture myself? Right. So I don't do that very often. But sugar and any other stimulants in the evening, unless you're like a serious coffee addict and then you drink it before bed and you're fine, you may be fine, but how do you know you're really actually reaching those deeper stages of sleep, right? So stimulants at night, avoid. Eating too late, avoid. Eating a lot of carbs at night, or refined sugars, avoid. Anything that stimulates you, like emotional upset, intense media, anything like that. Just kind of like turn everything down, turn the volume down on everything so that you can start to go into that relaxed mode and your melatonin is going to then put you to sleep.
Yeah. I recommend if you're a coffee drinker to drink your coffee after you eat your breakfast and also to not drink it later on past like 1 o'clock, you know what I mean? Like to cut it off by that time. And I also recommend people to stop eating 3 to 4 hours before bed. And this is because you don't want to be digesting your food while you're sleeping. You want to be able to, if your body's busy doing the digestive processes, then it's not going to be doing the rest and the repair and the rejuvenation. So eat earlier. Even in the summertime, when the light is out longer, I always eat before sunset. Okay. But even when the light is out later, okay, I still try to eat at least 3 hours before I'm going to bed, because you want your body to have some digestion done already and get through that. Okay. And also eating late at night also stimulates cortisol and blood sugar and suppresses melatonin. All three of those things. Food is a second Zeitgeber. It is a second timekeeper. So we need to be eating in the window of the light. Okay. That's a simple way to say it. Eat within the window when the light is out. Okay. That's going to shorten your window, and you're shorten your eating window and make you healthier if you're not already doing so. I think you all should be eating a nice circadian breakfast as well, right around sunrise time. So add that in. So if you eat around sunrise time, a nice circadian friendly breakfast, and then eat your last.
What is circadian friendly? You got to define that.
Circadian friendly means that you're eating at breakfast, you're eating around a breakfast time. Like meal timing is also a second Zeitgeber. So a lot of people want to skip breakfast and make their breakfast at 10 or 11, 12 o'clock because they're doing this intermittent fasting. And I get it. I tried that. I thought that was the cool thing to do. Let's have my bulletproof coffee and continue on with my day and not eat anything. But the problem is that is also going to jack up your cortisol levels because your body is stressed and your adrenals are going to, it's just too much stress, and the coffee on it to boot. Your body is going to be stressed out and releasing more cortisol. And it's, instead of releasing cortisol in this nice, slow pattern, like it should rise with the blue light of the sun, it's going to whoosh, bing, right up. And this is too much for our body. So a nice circadian friendly breakfast to me means you're eating within 60 minutes of seeing the sunrise. So my routine is I go out, sunrise, ground, a few minutes, get my dog ready, sneakers on, take a nice slow walk with him. This is not a time for fast hit workout exercise or a run, because that too jacks up the cortisol. This is a nice slow restorative walk with my dog. I tend to listen to podcasts. My phone's still on red. I just like that. And then I come back in and I make breakfast, and then I go bring my breakfast outside. Like, that's how we should be doing it. And, it makes a huge impact. That will also make a huge impact on your sleep later on in life, later on at night. Like, you have to be eating the right foods too. Food quality plays a role in sleep quality as well. I believe you have to eat quality food, and we've talked about that. I think the podcast episode was called Quantum Nutrition. You can go back and listen to that. But like, quality animal protein, quality animal fats, and seasonal, local organic foods. That's the nutshell, right? So this is what you want to be doing to really optimize that. So
Well,
yeah.
at nighttime too, let's finish the bedroom at night. Like, having a routine is really good because it kind of is that entrainment again. It's the things you're doing. Like, oh, your body gets the message, okay, we're brushing our teeth, we're doing this, we're doing that. And it's like, it's behavior modification. Like, okay, we're gonna go into rest mode. Yes. And so in addition to keeping the lights as dim as possible and calming yourself down and not getting like doing things that are stimulating, and in addition to not eating, within 2 to 3 hours before bedtime, and especially if you have gut issues, you want to make that window as wide as possible. And all those factors, you want to ensure, this is so important, that there's not a lot of light in your bedroom at night. Like, ideally, I would have it pitch black. But, again, my husband is like, it's too dark, it's dangerous. And so what I do is I wear the eye mask, and we have little from Gemba Red Light Company has these super cool night lights that come on. You can adjust how bright they are. They're all red, of course, and how long they stay on. And then they just shine downward on the floor. So they'll come on if there's movement. And those
Nice.
are awesome. They're really, really good. So get some of those if you need it. And then get your blackout curtains. Make sure that you're putting something over the sides and tops of the windows if their light is leaking through. Right. And so keep it as dark as possible where you can't see your hands. Like, Carrie Bennett says, like, can't see your hand in front of your face, like that. And then also you want to keep the room cooler, because a lot of people have, the heat on 75 in the winter at all the time. And that's a really bad thing to do because your body's not getting the message that it is winter. And this is the time that we do the deeper repair, and your body likes it cooler at night anyway. So that helps to foster your sleep. So you want to keep it relatively cool. I always have the window cracked because otherwise I feel like it's so stuffy. And then I get a little fresh air. The ocean breeze is nice. And then also you want some things that might help too is I have my bed elevated actually 6 inches on the head side. So I have quite a steep, rise in the bed, the elevation, and it helps me to not get the, my face so inflamed and that I would wake up with these bags under my eyes. So that's all much, much better. And so I elevate the head of the bed. Also, you don't want to sleep with tons and tons of covers. You want just enough, right? Because otherwise I can get overheated, especially menopause. It's like, well, no, I'm too hot. And you'll wake up in the middle of the night because your body temperature is slowly going to increase as it gets closer to 4 and 5. Your body temperature is going to increase, and then it'll wake you up too early if you have too many covers on. And keep your clothing loose. So what else?
I wear earplugs.
I wear earplugs.
I wear earplugs and an eye mask. The other thing that I would say about making your bedroom as friendly for sleep as possible is removing all electronics and unplugging everything. I don't have anything plugged in my room anymore. No TV. Where is a TV? Unfortunately, but it's just sitting there. It's unplugged, so I don't know what it's even doing. But it's from years ago when we used to watch TV in our room. But lamps, I unplugged them. All lamps are unplugged. I even moved the air doctor, out of the room. I was like, we don't really need it, like in there. Like I'm just, every electronic is unplugged, and Wi-Fi or if is off,
Oh my
if
God, yes.
huge, because that was a game changer too for me, for my health. I have to say, I mean, we got Ethernet, so we don't have Wi-Fi anymore, but we were turning the Wi-Fi off. And it stimulates those frequencies are going to interfere with your sleep. They are going to stimulate your nervous system. They are going to, instead of you being in rest and digest, you're going to be in fight or flight. They make you stressed.
Rest and repair. Rest and repair, not digest.
Rest and repair. Sure. Yes. Rest and repair. You're going to be stimulated, and you don't want that to happen. So, turn that off if you can. I mean, I know it's a hassle, but you can get these kill switches that are really cheap. It's like a click of a button, and then it's off and you're safe. Of course, no phones in the room, no charging phones in the room, phones away out of the room in airplane mode or off, even better, very, very far away, no, none of that. So all of that I think is really, really important as well for making your bedroom just a really safe, restorative place to rest and repair and get quality, good sleep.
Yeah, because you'll know if you're sleeping well, because you're not going to be as puffy at all in the morning. The better you sleep, you don't have puffiness when you wake up. So if your rings are tight and you feel kind of slow and whatnot, and it's normal to feel a little bit, slow when you first wake up, but within 5 or 10 minutes, you should start to feel pretty normal, right? So the more inflammation, the harder it is to get up, to wake up, to get moving. And that's when people go for the sugar and coffee. And that's the worst thing you can do, because like Vanessa said, you're just messing up your hormones and neurotransmitters. Is a bad idea. You want to do everything you can starting from the mornings to then think about, what am I doing now that's going to help my sleep later on in the night? So it's a cycle every day of you making the choices that you need to make, you prioritizing your own well-being. Be selfish, be stingy, get away with as much as you can about all the recommendations and the tips that we're giving you, because this is your life, right? If you don't want to be depressed, if you don't want to be having this, being tortured all night with not being able to sleep, if you want to feel good in your body, you have to decide, what is it that I'm willing to do as far as embracing a quantum and circadian friendly lifestyle? Because these methods work. And people might think like Vanessa said, like, how can light actually make that big of a difference? Well, it's the number one thing that affects our health. That's the foundation, and everything else stacks up on top of that. So if you get your light environment right and you start to dial in your sleep, which should happen pretty quickly, honestly, like if you sleep like crap and then you make as many of these changes, if you want to go all in and be gung-ho, your sleep is going to improve really, really quickly.
Oh, definitely. It absolutely will. It makes such a big impact. It's unbelievable how much my sleep quality has changed. I used to sleep like only a few hours a night. Like it's like ridiculous. Now I get like probably like 10 hours of good quality.
Wow, you're a cruising woman. That's awesome. Let's talk about some artificial melatonin.
Like and taking it endogenously?
Well,
Yeah.
no, like what would you say to people who say, I'll just take melatonin? Why don't I have to do all this light stuff? What? That's too much trouble.
Well, first of all, it's going to regulate your body's ability to make it itself. You should never, this is Jack Cruise's, right? Never take anything that your body can make, right? Because your body is not going to then make it itself. That's number one. So that's really, 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 really a bad idea to do. And I know I did it as a Band-Aid because I didn't know better at that time. But yeah, you're really going to downregulate your body's ability to make it. And then it's something you're going to need to rely on, and then you're not going to really get the correct rest and repair. You have to teach your body to do this itself. That's what the point here is, that it's like the same thing as homeopathy, how it entrains the immune system to teach it to do it itself, right? To teach your body to level up and self-heal. You have to do that with all of these practices and principles in the same respects, That's just a Band-Aid. It's never going to get to the root cause. It's never going to solve your issue. So I don't recommend melatonin, and I think it's a very bad idea to take it. And it's a hormone. You're taking a hormone. This is going to mess with other hormones. It's a master hormone. So I would not recommend that at all. And I I don't think that's a good idea. And I think it's a dangerous idea. And I think it's happening, and they're doing it more and more to children, and doctors are recommending it to children, I'm hearing now. And I think that's a very bad idea. Why are the children having a hard time sleeping? That's an obvious answer, because they're on video games at night, and they're totally living in a blue lit environment at night that's stimulating their brain and their cortisol response. That's why. There is no other reason why that melatonin, there's no reason why melatonin should be prescribed to children. That is an easy fix.
I agree 100%.
Yeah. So it gets me a little aggravated, but yeah, we can't do that. We have to, it's a lifestyle choice. Okay. And you have a decision to make. Am I going to use Band-Aids to fix my health? Or am I going to really make the changes that are going to yield long lasting results and give me a better quality of life for the rest of my days? That's your choice, to make.
You want to prioritize, right? Like,
yeah.
I'm going to give you an example. This female sister musical group, Rising Appalachia. I'm like, oh my God, they're coming to Monterey. And it's right downtown, 5 minutes from my house. And I thought, I want to go. And then I thought about it, and I'm like, I really don't want to go. I don't want to be, they start like they always have an intro group, right? I'm like, then they're not going to be playing until like 9, then or 10. And then I'm going to be up late. I'm like, I don't even want to go, because I'm going to feel like crap, and I'm going to get overstimulated. And it sounds awful. Like, I don't want to enjoy my life. It's not about that. It's about that I don't want to feel like crap the next day, even though I don't feel as compromised if I don't sleep well. But I don't enjoy it. Like, I want to have my routine at night where it feels so deeply nourishing. I can listen to them on the radio or whatever, on what other means. I don't need to actually go. Right. And
I agree.
because the holidays are coming up, and I'm thinking about people who want to go out and do things at night, and everything when it gets dark so early, everything's starting late.
Yeah.
So you have to pick and choose, like, depending again on your level of health and what you need to do for yourself, where you're nourishing yourself and what is good for you and not. Because I think we all instinctively know, like, I shouldn't be doing this, or I should do this. Is this going to be good for me? But we don't want to listen to that inner wisdom that our bodies are trying to tell us, right? So, yeah, I think if it's just a time limited thing, like, I'm going to go out of town for a few days, I can't control the light environment when I'm there. I can't, I'm in someone else's space. It's challenging, because it's like, I want to do it my way, but I just do what I can. I'll put my blue blockers on. I'm going to put a hat on. I'm going to go to bed a little bit later, but I'm not going to be up, like, they're probably going to be up till 11 o'clock. No, I do. And, part of it is you can't really give a shit what other people are going to think, because we are social mammals, and we have our tribe, and we need that social connection. Like, that's natural and normal. But it's also like you feeling confident in doing what you need to do, and trusting that those people are going to be mature, and they're going to respect you as a human, sovereign human, making your choices, and that you can compromise. I'll stay up a little later. I probably won't eat much of the food, because I'm going to bring my own food, which people are like, oh, it's not good enough for you. It's not about that. It's about that I have standards, and I have a right to honor myself, and I can have my own standards and live the way that I want.
Same. And I second all of that. And I definitely don't feel the need to go out at night. If actually somebody invites me somewhere at night, I'm like, oh man, I really don't want to go. Like, I really just like to be home, and especially in the wintertime. I mean, in the summertime, there's definitely more leniency there, and I like 100%. But in the wintertime, I really want to be home and in my bed at 7:30. I mean, that's early, but yeah, I do. And I love it, and I enjoy it. And I too, if I, this doesn't mean that you can't sometimes go out to the holiday party. If you want to do that, and, just protect yourself, wear the blue blockers, have the confidence to do it. I wear my blue blockers if I'm out after sunset all the time, or I'm in front of artificial light. And I wish people would come up and ask me why I'm wearing them, honestly, because then I could give them a little lesson and tell them how the light in Target is destroying their eyes, but and their hormones and everything else. But my point is I would encourage that, be confident enough to stand in your own choices and your decisions, that you're doing this for your health. Like, I bring my own food to places all the time if I have to go places. And I like, because I care about my health, and I know that what maybe you're putting out is not quality, and it's going to cause me to have health troubles. It's going to cause a problem in my body that I don't want to have to deal with. And I want to feel good. I don't want to feel like crap, like, it's important to me. So that's my choice, and
The
yeah.
energy that you do it with is important because you have to do it because it's nourishing you. It's not about rigidity and
Mhm.
getting like so
Yes.
anal about it that you're creating more stress and tension within you and with others. That's not what we're talking about. We're
No.
talking about a peaceful approach that works for you and you're not creating more conflict in your life and you do what you want to do and others do what they want to do, but not coming at this from a place of fear of like, oh my God, I forgot my glasses. Cause that happened to me the other day. I'm like, oh, well, whatever. Forgot my
Yeah.
glasses. So it's fine. You'll be fine. It's just a matter of what are you doing most of the time? And is that serving?
Consistency.
What are,
Consistency.
yeah, what are you doing most of the time? What choices are you making? So
Mhm, mhm.
that's what it's
And
all
I
about.
honestly think a lot of people sometimes think that I bring my own food because they think it's a weight issue. They think it's like that's
Oh,
the goal. And that's not has nothing to do with it. It's totally a health driven issue. And I know we're getting close to the end of our time, but I want to do recommend also that people move their body a little bit throughout the day. You know,
yes.
sitting all day long and being sedentary all day long is gonna, impact our body also. So, movement is also a zeitgeber, a timekeeper. We want to be moving throughout the day. So, and I'm not saying you got to go, join CrossFit. I don't recommend those things or become a marathon runner. I don't recommend either one of those things. I think what you need to do is just, my recommendation is to take some walks, maybe 1 or 2 walks a day, maximize 30 minutes to an hour of walking a day would be amazing, and that's also going to help your body build some serotonin and some melatonin and help your body sleep and rest and repair. Everybody knows they get their best night's sleeps when they go to the beach, they exercise, they're outside in the sunlight, they're gathering all those electrons, they're outside earthing all day, right? Everybody sleeps the best when they go to the beach all day, right? I always think of that. Like, so being out, like, let's like end it with like being outside in nature. Earthing can help with sleep as well, which we didn't mention because that's going to help balance the parasympathetic. All of that like is really, really important. So get
Well,
outside and get
Vanessa, so
some
let's talk about
sunlight.
how we can help people. So it below
Mhm,
on the show notes, we have all of our information to find
mhm.
out more about this lifestyle of circadian friendly lifestyle. And Vanessa, you have many courses, amazing, amazing content that you put out. I have Enlightened Mood course that will help you achieve the good night's sleep because sleep is imperative, or a good sleep is essential for, having a good mood, but it's all connected, right? So if you're in a good mood, it means your body is getting what it needs from the environment. So I have that also available in the show notes. You can feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. We want to support everyone because the more people who are nourished and getting good sleep, who are healthier, they're happier and they make better choices, the world becomes a better place. So this really is a quantum right endeavor
It's
that
a
we're
quantum effect. Yeah.
that's right. And so we're here to support you. And we would just want to say how much we appreciate you tuning in and listening, especially regular listeners. Thank you so much. If you
Mhm.
feel so moved, please go ahead and give us some reviews and, up to
Yes.
a 5-star review. Thank you so much for tuning in. Just a heads up, we have some amazing speakers coming up. We've got a full like lineup, I think all the way through the end of February. We got Dr. Stephanie Seneff, who's coming soon.
Yes.
She is like a world-renowned MIT researcher. She's going to be talking to us about melanin and
Glyphosate.
glyphosate. Yep. And we have
Glyphosate and deuterium,
deuterium.
actually. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, deuterium. And we have a young man named Jacob coming online soon. He's going to talk about his take on the whole vaccine issue, which, right? Yeah, it's controversial, but we need to be able to talk about it and not be censored. So
Oh,
Vanessa
yeah.
and I are standing up for free speech, and we're going to bring that to the podcast to help people have a civil and mature discussion about these things and see if we can do it without being censored, which we are very concerned about, but we're going to go ahead anyway. So
Yeah, absolutely. We need to. We need to get the word out there. Suppression causes disease is what we're going to talk about with him. And I'm so super excited to talk about that because that is such a great topic. And yeah, we're hoping that we're bringing some good quality information that you guys are enjoying. So we would, appreciate those 5-star reviews or appreciate any reviews. It'd be amazing. And we hope you learn something from this information. I definitely have my Rebalance Your Rhythms course you could check out if you want to learn more about all of the circadian lifestyle practices. And even I have for only $30 to get your light right. And that's, pretty cheap. You can learn all about the light stuff and it'll really help maximize your sleep, just getting that piece of the puzzle correct as well. And of course, we didn't talk about homeopathy, but that can also help with sleep issues if you have that as well. So you can book in with one of us for that. And
homeopathy, especially for unresolved or unprocessed trauma and grief and emotional challenges, because guess what, everybody, the more that you have built up inside of you, it can hijack your sleep, because what happens when we're asleep is all that stuff comes up in your subconscious. You're going to have nightmares, you're going to have bad dreams, and So homeopathy is a really, really good option to help to address that and help unlock your body.
Right. Especially if you're doing all of these circadian practices and you're still struggling with sleep, there's something deeper that needs to be healed that we can help with homeopathy. So I think that is a really, really important tip. And yeah, we're really hoping that this information brings you a quality, good sleep, and you take some, so you utilize some of this information. And yeah, that's been great.
Let us know what happens if when you implement these things, and then send us a message about how much better your sleep is. We'd love to hear.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.